Good evening, board members, Mr. Santos, district staff. The time is 6:02. This is the 16th day of September 2015, and I call this meeting of the United Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Rodriguez, could you please call roll?
Alisa Oliveros.
Present.
Ricardo Molina.
Present.
Ricardo Ruiz Rodriguez. Javier Montemero.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Could everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, Texas Pledge, and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one nation.
Thank you. Let the record show that Mr. Gilpin is also present. A quorum of board members is also present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Agenda item number 3. Does any board member have any announcements they'd like to make? No? None. Thank you. Agenda item number 4. Public comments. Mr. Jose Obando. Sorry? Second section. We're ready to go now, Mr. Obando. You want to do it now?
This is the only time that we have listed on the agenda for public comments.
I don't have another section, Mr. Obando. How are you, Mr. Obando?
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Jose Obando. Under protest.
Before we begin, Mr. Obando, just rules. Mr. Molina here will give you 3 minutes. He'll give you a minute notice when your time is almost up.
Okay,
Go ahead. Thank you.
all right. Under protest, because the agenda specifically states on section number 3, board announcements, number 4, public comments, then it's 5, 6, then 7, then 8, closed session, board will adjourn, and then it returns to section 9, reconvene from closed session, section 8, public hearing. And this is the section where I wanted to speak at. And it's in the agenda. I know that y'all don't follow the rules specifically, only when it applies to the taxpayers, but not by yourselves, but I would really like for you to abide by this. Okay.
If you want to speak at the public hearing time, you can, if there's a public hearing, yes.
Well, if it's here, it's written, I would imagine it's supposed to be there, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the public hearing
Richard.
is only with respect to the Enrique Garza matter. That's going to be the public comment that you're going to be addressing?
I think I can read enough to know what I'm going to be talking about,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, well, then you can take a seat, and they'll call you up at that time.
The lady do doth profit much, I do believe.
Thank you. All right. Agenda item number 5, recognitions. A, Mr. Santos, you want to?
Yes, Mr. Montemero, members of the audience, it's a time of the meeting where we are able to recognize our employees, our students, and our community members. If the board can join us up front.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Santos, and the audience. It gives me great pleasure to present this award. This award is in recognition to Officer Jerry Hernandez for his outstanding alertness and decisive action that directly saved a human life. On Wednesday, July 1st, 2015, Officer Hernandez saved the life of an 18-month-old child who had drowned at one of his neighbor's home. His neighbor came outside screaming, asking for help, when Officer Hernandez happened to be outside in his front yard. Officer Hernandez came to the scene and found the child already unresponsive and turning blue. He immediately started CPR because the child had no pulse or breathing. He continued CPR, and by the time EMS got there, the child had already started breathing and he had cleared some water from her lungs. Later on that evening, Officer Hernandez was told by Laredo Police Department and the parent that the child was crying and doing better at the hospital, but would be transferred to San Antonio Hospital for further medical care. The child is baby Leandra Suarez, and her parents are Jackie and Samuel Suarez, and they're here present with me. Officer Hernandez has been a police officer for 19 years. He joined the UISD Police Department in 2012. He has been married for 18 years and is married to Mildred Villanueva Hernandez. He's a proud father of 4 beautiful children, 3 boys and 1 girl. He is a graduate of Nixon High School and also attended Laredo Community College. We have a hero among us, a hero who never hesitates to tackle the most difficult problems, one who acts with pride. A hero touches every one of us, whether it be a word or a deed. All too many times, the hero is dressed in blue. Thank you, Officer Hernandez, for your outstanding service in saving a human life. Therefore, at this time, we present you with the Life Saving Award. Congratulations.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Santos, members of the audience. It brings me great pleasure to name today Laredo Today newspaper to the Texas Association of School Boards and the United ISD Media Honor Roll. The Laredo Today newspaper is owned and operated by Mike Herrera, now in its 26th year of operation. Mr. Herrera? In addition to publishing the Laredo Today newspaper, he also works in publishing other newspapers in neighboring communities. Now, the criteria for the district selection for this award includes the media representative's efforts to get to know the superintendent, board of trustees, the district's goals and mission, report on school news in a fair, accurate, and balanced manner, and give a profile to positive news about the district, as well as visiting our schools. And Mr. Herrera, of course, knows United ISD and the Laredo community very well. He's a longtime journalist, a veteran journalist, may I say, and we're very happy to have you here tonight, Mr. Herrera. Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate Mr. Herrera from the Laredo Today newspaper. Congratulations, sir.
Good evening, members of the audience. My name is Laida Benavides, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, and I normally don't do this, so just bear with me. Thank you, Mr. Santos and board members, for allowing me to recognize this department, which is the tax office that also covers records management, board elections, and mailroom for our district. It is with great pride, awe, and mixed feelings that I bring this recognition of this awesome staff and their dedicated leader, Norma Faribault, to the board. The tax office made UISD history, and I've been here 20 plus years, when they hit a 98.99% collection rate, which is over $178 million, which is a remarkable feat. This has been made possible due to these hardworking staff members and the other area members who pitch in when the office gets very busy. Just go to their office on Saunders at the end of December when we're all off, and at the end of January, and you can see them just working automatically collecting taxes for our district and our students. Of course, with the help of our delinquent tax collection firm, Gordon Science, who collected over $1.2 million this year. Thank you so much. And last but not least, our taxpayers who pay their school taxes, which show they believe in what we do. And I'd like to compliment the staff. I personally, again, 22 years of being over this office, I've never heard of complaints from taxpayers. You know, you can tell from the comments that come to the board that they are fair to everybody, and they take care of business for us. The other areas that Ms. Faribault oversees, the record management, are bringing United ISD to the 21st century by working hard to move us to a paperless environment. And of course, our two-person mailroom, through the leadership of Eloy Lara, has saved the district thousands of dollars. We email the report cards, we mail newsletters to parents, we mail vendors, just thousands of pieces of mail that he has helped us process in a very efficient manner. It is with a very heavy heart, though, that I make this announcement that after 26 dedicated years to United ISD and our community, Mrs. Norma Faribault will be retiring this coming February. She will be missed, but we know she has prepared her staff to carry on the high-level performance of this office in the years to come. Norma, thank you for all you have done for all of us and for the children of United ISD.
members of the board, Mr. Santos, members of the audience. Tonight we'd like to recognize the UISD Instructional Television Department for winning 16 video awards. These awards were national recognition for communication achievement presented by the National School Public Relations Association, NSPRA, conference in Nashville, Tennessee. The video contest is open to U.S. and Canadian public and private schools and educational services agencies. For 3 years in a row, the United ITV Department has the distinction of winning more NSPRA video awards than any other school district in the country. Some of those awards, the 16 videos included the Magnet School recruitment videos, iLead United videos, the UISD student newscast, Knowledge for College, and 6 elementary PBIS videos. So I'd like to give a congratulations to the ITV department.
For our final recognition, we'd like to recognize one of our middle school bands that achieved a milestone in the state of Texas. This achievement started early in the year through an elimination process and an audition process. The Troutman Middle School Band competed in what is called the Texas Music Educators Association Honor Band process. And it began by band director Jorge Garcia and Chris Lira submitting a recording of their UIL competition to the state of Texas. This recording of their UIL contest went from the regional level to the area level and advanced finally to the state level. At the state level, it was auditioned by a panel of judges, and out of 15 bands throughout the entire state of Texas, the Troutman Middle School Band ranked number 9th in the whole state. Let's congratulate Troutman Middle School Band. As the band members are walking up, I'd like to comment that I have personally witnessed the dedication that these two band directors have. A lot of times, if I pass by Troutman Middle School, let's say around 7 in the morning, I happen to see a vehicle, see parents dropping off kids, parents getting up very early to leave them at practice. Then if you happen to go by on a Saturday, they're there again practicing on a Saturday, and I don't need to tell the parents because they had to take these children back and forth. But it's through a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a goal that was set by the band director, and this achievement is a very, very high achievement. And we want to thank the parents that are here because you did a lot of sacrifices. And in fact, some of the students that are up here are already 9th graders because since this recording was submitted on last year, these students, the 8th graders, of course, have already graduated onto the 9th grade. So we want to thank them for also coming here and being present, and we highly appreciate the support that the parents have given. I think they're ready for the picture. Once again, congratulations to Troutman Middle School Band, 9th finalist in the state. Congratulations.
Made out of this material, maybe a white background. Nice. Oh my gosh. You won't agree? See? Won't agree?
Here we go.
They're going to reject the settlement offer. At least that's going to be my recommendation.
On the 10.
Yeah. If they want to counter, the most is 7, but I don't think they
No.
you know, we're going to go for it. So therefore, there's no public hearing.
It's school board meeting?
Today I have the RMA meeting at 9, and then I have the border region meeting at 10, and I got the actual 2:30, so it's been one of those.
Why the executive order on that when everybody can meet and try to have those speak? Well, actually, it's almost for agreement.
I was super pissed off that they wanted to recuse something at the last time. They says, no, I'm not going to have it till November or December.
So we have the last one. Well, let's go. Let's just call them. I mean,
Okay. Thank you. Everybody ready? All right.
She says she likes it.
We can do it. Agenda item number 6. At this time, we move on to the consent agenda items. I'll make a motion that we approve what was discussed and met upon at the last board meeting last Tuesday. What date was last Tuesday?
Last Tuesday,
I'm sorry?
I got it. September the 8th, at the Curriculum Instruction Committee meetings, as well as the Business Committee meetings, agenda items A through J. Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
there are some discretionary requests that came in after the Business and Instruction Committee met.
Okay.
I'd like to go ahead and read those into the minutes for your approval. A request from Los Obispos Middle School, Jessica Salazar, campus principal, sponsored by Ricardo Molina Sr. for student incentives of $3,000. A request from the Cherish Center, Principal Roylyn Wilson, sponsored by Mr. Juan Roberto Ramirez for a laminating machine, $2,141.19. A request from Los Obispos Middle School, Jessica Salazar, Principal, sponsored by Ramiro Valdez III for library books and equipment for $5,000. Request from Antonio Gonzalez Middle School, Patricia Perez, Principal, sponsored by Rick Rodriguez, for staff luncheon provided by Mr. Rodriguez during staff meetings to discuss accountability for Antonio Gonzalez Middle School as improvement required campus, the amount of $2,400. Request from United ISD Police Department, Chief Clemente Camarillo, sponsored by Mr. Ricardo Molina, for evidence tracking system for $2,500 and backpacks for positive promotions for $2,500 for a total of $5,000. Request from Alexander High School, Mr. Ernesto Sandoval, campus principal, sponsored by Ms. Elisa Flores Oliveros, to purchase 160 iTunes cards to raffle 20 per month from October through May among students who have perfect attendance during the month. Total of $3,200 for the full year. A request from Alexander High School basketball program, Luis Valdez, head basketball coach, sponsored by Ms. Elisa Flores Oliveros. Donation to the Alexander High School Basketball Elite Club banner for $50. Request from United Middle School cheerleading program, Ms. Becky Morales, principal, sponsored by Ms. Elisa Flores Oliveros. A donation to the United Middle School cheerleading banner sponsorship for $50. Excuse me. Basically, a district-wide request from Mr. Manuel Sanchez Jr., co-founder of Pillar, sponsored by Ms. Elisa Flores Oliveros, to purchase T-shirts for UISD students who will be attending the Pillar anti-bullying event on October the 28th for an estimated total of $2,000. A Request from Los Obispos Middle School, Jessica Salazar, principal, sponsored by Mr. Vélez III, library books and equipment for $5,000. Request from Clark Middle School, Mr. René Rodriguez, principal, sponsored by Mr. Javier Montemayor. The Clark Middle School band was invited to perform in the Spurs game and is requesting assistance with transportation for the amount of $3,688. Request from Lyndon B. Johnson High School, Mr. Armando Salazar, principal, sponsored by Mr. Ricardo Molina, student incentives for a total of $3,000.
With those other items that Mr. Zuniga presented, I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Agenda item number 7, items for individual consideration. Item 7A, approval of board minutes for the months of August 2015. Is there a motion regarding approval of these?
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Agenda item 7B, approval of donations.
Yes, Mr. McMorro, members of the board, it is recommended that the board of trustees graciously accept the following donations, and they will be attached to the minutes. We have 3 donations over $1,000. United ISD Health Service Department received a donation of $2,912 from Laredo Diploma Plus Foundation to be used to the purchase of nebulizers for 27 elementary campuses and 17 secondary campuses. United South High School FFA Club received a donation of $2,250.04 from Life Downs. 3, Alexander High School Student Activity Club received a donation of $1,100 from AM Insurance Service, and we had 1 donation under $1,000. Grand total this month is $6,882.04 that we graciously accept, and want to thank our partners for helping our students.
Thank you. Is there a motion regarding the approval of the minutes? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Item passes. Agenda item 7C, nomination of candidates to the Board of Directors of the Webb County Appraisal District.
I'd like to nominate Judd Gilpin.
Okay, we have a motion to motion and a second to nominate Mr. Gilpin. Who are the current members?
The current board members for UISD is Mr. Judd Gilpin and Mr. Juan Roberto Ramirez.
And Mr. Cruz, could you elaborate as to why these 2 individuals are board members? How do they get appointed, and why do they get appointed?
Oh, it's just nomination. So if you want to nominate the 2 same members, you can do that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Roberto Ramirez.
Second.
Motion and a second to both Mr. Gilpin and Mr. Ramirez.
Anything else, Norma?
Just to let the board know that we do have 2,253 votes that will be cast at the next board meeting, and it takes 834 to qualify for to guarantee 1 seat. So we would have 585 votes left over once we appoint those 2 board members or vote for those 2 board members.
So there would be another position available?
A possible position. It's the top 5 vote getters, and as we have it now, the next one down in line would be Laredo Community College, and then it would be Laredo ISD, depending on whether the city of Laredo or Webb County gave any of their votes to either one of those districts.
But usually you all give your votes to one of the entities, right?
In the past couple of years, we've divided ours equally between the 2 candidates that we've nominated.
Okay.
And just for clarification, each entity appoints an individual to sit on this. Each taxing entity appoints an individual to sit on this committee. Is that correct?
That's correct. In other words, first the procedure is that they're nominated every 2 years. We go through the process. We put in our nominations. All the districts put in their candidates, and then we cast the vote. And it's, like I say, the top 5. So there is a possibility that depending on if the city or the county did not give any votes to LISD, then it would fall to us with those additional votes, or then to Laredo Community College.
But it's not unusual. It's actually practice that you nominate a taxing entity, nominate a member of their board.
Yes, and-
if they're eligible.
If they're eligible.
Yes,
That's a requirement.
yes.
Right,
And-
it's a requirement.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Historically, we've had LISD, a member from LISD, a member from the county, and a member from the city, and 2 from UISD.
Yeah, that's statistically how it's been going, but in this case, the levy for Laredo Community College is a little bit higher now than LASD, so they have actually more votes that they can cast. So it's a possibility that we would have a board member for the appraisal district from LCC opposed to LASD, depending on how the votes were cast.
Unless we provide our votes.
Yes, unless we gave
LASD.
some of our votes to LASD, yes.
Gotcha.
Can't they give them over to USD?
Uh,
If they have any left?
Yes, sir. Anybody can transfer their votes to whichever candidate is on the ballot.
All right, I guess you'll let us know what the status is after.
Yes,
We're gonna give
at the
our-
next board meeting, we'll bring the list of the candidates that were nominated by each of the entities, and then we'll cast our votes at that time.
So in other words, if we wanted to, we could put 3 up this time.
Yes, you can nominate 3. You can nominate up to 5, yes.
Yeah, I gotcha. But if we were to follow suit with what's been done customarily, we would just put up 2.
Yes, sir.
Or we could decide at a later time, or we have to decide right now.
Because of the time frame that we're required by October 15th to furnish this information to Mr. Villarreal at the appraisal district. So that's why we do have to make the nomination tonight of the candidates, and then next board meeting, you'll cast the votes.
Gotcha. So what we'll be looking at is the usual nomination from somebody from LISD, and then
More than likely.
we could support them if we wanted to.
But each one of the entities, including LCC, will have somebody on the ballot.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
For the record, I will recuse myself because of my employment. I probably won't vote. But no, I think you're... All right, is there a motion? I think there's a motion and a second to approve those 2 nominations. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. One abstention. Item 7D.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Verbo. Discussion and possible action to approve a perfect attendance exception program for district bus monitors and food services personnel.
Mr. Montemayor, members of the board, my name is David Garcia from Human Resources. This particular action item for your consideration is exactly what it says. Last time that the board convened, considered making an exception to the perfect attendance to allow employees to have 5 days of personal absences and not interfere with the perfect attendance process, where employees that are, the way the perfect attendance program works, it is for bus drivers, bus monitors, and food service personnel that work 186 days and 207 days. That's the employee group in question. During the last board meeting, the board considered and approved to include bus drivers only. This particular item for your consideration is simply to consider the bus monitors and food service personnel to be equal, to say it any differently, for this particular incentive plan.
I'll make a motion to approve that, sir.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. What are we talking about as far as costs?
At this point, we had approximately 145 people. Well, one of the other things I forgot to mention, but it's noted on the item itself, individuals to qualify must have at least 30 days of accrued leave in their bucket in order to qualify for this. We have a little over 140 people that do qualify for consideration based on this particular action item. At this point, sir, I don't have the numbers readily available for me, but I can forward that information to the board through appropriate channels.
Montemayor, there was going to be no cost impact into the budget. This is days that they will accumulate. It's like an incentive for them, but it was at no impact to the budget. Even though if we still add it on, it's at no impact to the budget. These people will be able to take their days, their 5 days, as long as they have 30 days. They can take 5 days whenever they want at their request.
Would also like to share to the board, excuse me, sir,
Yes.
I'd like to share with the board that if approved, it goes back to beginning of the work calendar. So in other words, there's equal consideration for all from the beginning of the year of their work schedule to the present and
And they
further into
needed
the
to have
school.
had the 30 days by the day in August that we started.
That is
already
correct.
accumulated.
Yes.
For this year.
Any financial impact will be sent to the board by Friday. It's in your
Correct.
Friday packets. That way you see the breakdown.
Thank you.
I'd like to include, if they can include the holidays on that.
The holidays are, but we'll include them for you, yes, that's part of the board book.
Package.
Part of the
It is an
package.
agenda, yes, sir, but we'll include that,
All right.
board policy.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes. Agenda item 8, closed session. Time is now 6:37 p.m. Board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, .074 of the Texas Government Code. Discuss agenda items 8A and B. Back in approximately 1 hour. Thank you. Time is now 7:05. We're reconvened from closed session. Board will take appropriate action on items if necessary, as discussed in closed session. Agenda item 9A, public hearing.
Mr. President, members of the board, the recommendation is to table the public hearing regarding settlement and compensation payment to Enrique Garza.
Right. Have a motion to approve.
Move to table.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Agenda item 9B.
Mr. President, members of the board, the recommendation is to reject the settlement offer made by Enrique Garza and counter as discussed in closed session.
Motion to approve. Motion second. All those in favor? And item passes. C, approval to rescind the proposed. Go ahead.
The recommendation is to rescind the proposed non-renewal of Santa Sestu's term contract as discussed in closed session.
Second. Motion to second. All those in favor? Motion passes. Agenda item 10, adjournment.
Second?
Motion second. We're adjourned. Thank you.